Guys, day 43 of the 100 Days of LeetCode. We got an easy problem today, remove element. Let's get to it. So given an integer array nums and an integer val, remove all occurrences of val in nums in place. So what this means is it basically eliminates the idea of creating another array and returning the array. Plus it's the function we need to return an int. So yeah, let's read the rest. Since it is impossible to change the length of the array in some languages, you must instead have the result be placed in the first part of the array nums. More formally, if there are k elements after removing the duplicates, then the first k elements of nums should hold the final result. It does not matter what you leave beyond the first k elements. Return k after placing the final result in the first k slots of nums. And it's basically saying don't make an extra array. You got to modify the input array in place. And here's an example. If our value is 3, well then we need to put the 3's at the end of the array and keep 2, and we should return 2, right? Because there's 2 numbers in the array that aren't our value. And I mean, it says it does not matter what you leave beyond the return k, right? So we don't even have to swap them. We just have to make sure that these go here. Okay. And now we have this array value equals 2. And of course, you see all the numbers that aren't 2 shifted to the left, keeping their relative order. And the output is 5. And our function should return 5. And then the first 5 elements, of course, have to contain the non-2 elements. So let's get to it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're creating a variable. Let's just call them I and j. Okay, so now we're going to create a for loop. And for those of you who don't know, you don't need to actually, in Java or C, C++, any languages like that, you don't actually have to put anything in any of these parts of the for loop, right? So here we're not going to do anything because we're not going to assign any variable. We're just going to use one of these. And let's use I. So this loop's going to continue until I is less than nums.length. And we're going to increment I each time. And we're going to say if nums I not equal to val, nums j equal nums I, and then we're going to increment j and we're going to return j. So what are we doing here? Basically, we're using I to iterate through the list, the array, excuse me, we're in Java, iterate through the array. And we're going to go through all the numbers in the array, but only when we come across a number that isn't the value are we going to change it to be in nums j, right? And then we're going to increment j. So what this means is, let's say for this one, let's grab this one, this example. Right off the bat, nums I is going to be 3, and of course it is equal to val, so we skip through I increments, and then we enter this again. Nums I is now 1, of course, is 2, and of course that isn't equal to value. So then we put nums, we assign that number to nums j. Okay, and nums j, j of course is 0 still, right? Because we haven't actually incremented it. So this would get the number 2, and that's why you get number 2 there. Only when we do some sort of assigning to the jth index do we increment j. And then, of course, at the end, we return j. And there you go. That's how you solve that problem. If you guys have been enjoying these videos, please like, subscribe. I'd appreciate that. We'll be back tomorrow with day 44.